actual research says that building a new habit takes around 66 days at least, not 21. And here's why that number matters more than what you think. This is a step that decides whether your new habit lasts for 2 weeks or actually it sticks for good. And this is the reason that most people rebuild a habit that they just broke. They just managed to break it and then they rebuild it again. If you're new here, I've been walking through the C.A.R, which stands for Catch, Interrupt and Rewire. Catch is noticing the pattern, a bad pattern of yours in real time. Then interrupt is physically breaking the state it lives in. Now we're diving into Rewire. Today that's the part we're diving in. And it's the step that makes the first two actually mean something. If this is the first video of this series that you're watching, then hit subscribe and go back to both Catch and Interrupt. But honestly, this video stands on its own too. So now let's get into it. You've probably heard that it takes 21 days to build a habit, right? That number isn't backed by anything solid. It just traces back to a plastic surgeon's research that dates back to the 90s. But not to a real habit research. While the actual studies on this, the most cited one followed people for months, found it takes closer to 66 days to actually build a habit, and for some people even longer than that. I'm telling you this because if you go into Rewire expecting a 3-week finish line and it takes you longer, most people just quit it there. But that's what we want to avoid after all the work that we've been putting solving this self-sabotaging patterns that we have. Keep in mind that there's nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with most of the people, it's just that number was wrong. So here's what most people do after they interrupt a pattern. They just stop. That's it, they simply stop. They feel proud they didn't do that bad thing and that's it. But your brain doesn't rewire about one absence. It rewires around what you did instead. If you interrupt the pattern and don't immediately replace it with something, your brain has nothing new to reinforce. So eventually the old pattern will just be coming back because it's still the strongest. It's still the most repeated pattern that you've got inside you. So now let's speak about the Rewire method, the real actionable steps that you need to take, that you need to perform in order to say goodbye forever to any type of self-sabotaging patterns and toxic patterns with yourself. I want to divide this method in 3 parts, so let's now talk about part 1. The moment you interrupt the pattern, do the smallest possible version of a new behavior. Something so small that it feels almost silly. When I was self-sabotaging myself out of filming content, I would not say to myself, write a whole video script. I would just say, open the document, okay? Or maybe for you it could be, you don't need to do the full workout. You just put on your shoes in order to go to the gym. The size doesn't matter yet. The rep is what matters. The fact that you actually do something is what matters. Then let's dive into the phase 2 of this method. In this phase, I'm gonna break down for you the 2-minute rule that makes new habit actually stick. Now we wanna speak about repetition over intensity. So 1 perfect day does almost nothing for rewiring, while 10 mediocre, very tiny steps do everything. Your brain builds new pathways to frequency, okay? So not through how impressive a single instance was. This is why people who go all in for one epic day see absolutely zero long-term change, while people who stick with the boring 2-minute version daily are the ones who actually shift in the long term. Now let's talk about the 3rd phase. So in this process, normally you have to expect the regression, and you don't have to interpret this regression as a failure. It's just part of the process, because normally around week 2 or 3 the old pattern will try to come back, but this time stronger. And this is normal. It's not evidence you're failing. It's basically just evidence that the old pathway is still fighting for relevance, because it's been reinforced for years, so it's absolutely normal. And when that happens, you go back to Catch, then you interrupt, and then you rewire again. It is that simple. That's not about starting over. That's literally the whole process. This is a process that you can apply in literally every single area of your life, and you'll see how you'll get the biggest success in the long run. So now I want to give you guys my personal example, something that I really been experimenting on my skin. So basically, as I told you, I mentioned the pattern that I had of talking myself out of posting, right? With this pattern that I mentioned, the 3-minute version was just opening my camera app, not filming a full video, just opening the app. But by doing that small rep consistently, then posting stopped being the hard part, because opening the app actually was the hard part, and I'd already made that easy. So now guys, after diving into all 3 steps of this very interesting method, then let's do a recap so that we can put together the whole thing. First step is you should catch the pattern in real time, okay? Then you have to interrupt it physically. Stand up, say something out loud, change the room you're in, and then immediately rewire with the smallest, tiniest possible version of the new behavior that you want to implement. Do that on repeat. Then expect a dip, it's possible with all humans, around week 2 or 3, and keep going anyway, actioning the same method all over again. This week I want you to pick your pattern from the last 2 videos, and I want you to close the full loop. I want you to run the full loop. Catch, interrupt, and rewire at least once. So guys, comment rewire if you're running the full method this week, and if this 3-part series helped you, subscribe, because I've got a lot more coming on the mind side of self-development, not just the surface level stuff. So guys, let me know if this series really helped you reframe how you think about changing a habit, and keep in mind that this will not be the last deep dive. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video. Let me know what was your favorite part, and let me know what's the pattern that you're gonna start fighting. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video next Sunday. Bye!